Welcome, everyone, to the Lansing Catholic Podcast. I'm Father Joe, the chaplain here.
I'm Mr. Stolpa, Dean of Intellectual Formation.
And we have a special guest today, one of our seniors, Mr. Daniel Entler. Thanks for coming, Danny.
Thank you for having me.
Danny Boy is in my Rojinka, and so we're going to talk about a lot of that stuff later, because I don't know if you know this, Father, but Danny is the house captain.
Very good.
For Frassati. And Danny, what happened with Frassati?
Well, we won the Great Crux.
I have to believe that's due to your leadership. Is that correct?
I wouldn't attribute it to anything else but your leadership.
This is just going around in circles now.
Just kidding.
Well, we'll have to talk about that when we get to the interview section, but congratulations to Frassati House.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's not you, Father. You're not
No,
Frassati.
no, I'm Joseph House. But for people that don't know,
Ironic.
the Great Crux is this big trophy that we keep in our library, which commemorates the winner of the house competition every year. So this year the winner was indeed Frassati House.
What was that? I didn't hear what you said.
What did I say?
Yeah, what did you say?
Frassati
Oh,
House?
Frassati won? Shoot, I didn't know that.
Yes, they did. All right, so we'll talk about things coming up this week. It's kind of a quiet week. We're looking at the calendar, and there's not a whole lot to say. But
I think we need a quiet week after the
sort of
the graduation week and the last couple weeks in May get a little crazy with exams, finals, APs, all the fun stuff.
So on Wednesday, May 22nd, we have our Father Mac dinner, which is a big fundraising event. We do it every year. It's been going on for like 20 years or something. The event is closed for registration, so it's too late to sign up for it, but you can still donate online. The fundraising is to support tuition assistance, so it's certainly a great thing to support for some of our students that maybe don't have the means to pay for their tuition here.
Father, are we going to have a table at the dinner, like you and me, to sign autographs? Is that something we should put out there?
Maybe we should do a live recording from the from the event that night. Just have a little booth in the corner.
We should do that.
With
Interview.
headphones.
We should. I think we should have pictures of maybe not you and me, but maybe the bishop, and then you and I can sign them.
We should at least have like an advertisement on the screen at some point. Be sure
Featuring,
to subscribe.
Yes,
to the hottest podcast in all of Lansing.
Fastest growing podcast hosted by the chaplain and dean of intellectual formation.
And then with an asterisk that says none of these statements have been verified by that sort of stuff.
Well, Father, 82% of statistics are made up.
I've heard that, yes.
Where'd you get that statistic?
Don't ask questions, Danny.
What else is going on, Stolpa?
Well, we have a couple makeup exams for AP for kids who are absent, or there's been a lot of a big kerfuffle with sports events, track meets, and tennis. And so there is a makeup for AP Biology on Thursday, and I believe A-Push is Thursday as well. And then there is a makeup for AP Government on Friday. So we will be doing both of those. Those of you who are taking it, look for an email from me because I still need to verify where we're doing it.
That's pretty much all we have this week, so let's talk with Daniel. So as we mentioned, you're in Frassati House.
Yes,
what do you
indeed.
think were some of the key moments that led to the success of the house competition?
Do you think number one is election of you as the house captain?
No, it was everybody. Mr. Kraus and you, Mr. Stolpa, were definitely instrumental. But from Cougar games specifically, I'm thinking of Ren and Elijah doing the wheelbarrow race, and I think we were in third or something. And they just turned on the jets, and it was awesome.
Did you strategically pick them for this?
They picked it. I mean, they did a great job, though.
The funniest thing about that moment was Ren was the one, he was going so fast on his hands that Elijah couldn't keep up with him. Like, Elijah kept tripping and falling. I was like, Ren, that is impressive.
That was awesome.
So there were a few events that I thought we did very well. The live action Mario Kart.
Yes.
That was a new one this year. Who came up with that one, and is that something you would like to ever do again?
I would. Well, I'm going to be graduating, but I'd love to see it again. That was fun. I think it was Mr. Krause's idea, and he wanted to live stream it too, but we weren't able to get that.
Get like a GoPro camera on each.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been amazing. So the audience listening, the live Mario Kart, you started on the little hand scooters, right?
Yeah,
From
this is on the track.
Yep, around the
field.
track. Don't worry, Mr. Simpson, we're not on the track. This is around the concrete parts. You started on the little tiny scooter that we all use in gym class as children.
Yes.
And then what was the next part?
Well, I couldn't see from the stands.
It looked like a skateboard or a regular scooter or something.
I think there was one part that was like those Razor scooters with the handlebars.
Yep.
And then there was definitely a skateboard part.
Skateboard.
And the
Which,
last
like-
part is the part I want to talk about.
Well, shout out to Frances Malin. She killed it.
That
on the
was
skateboard.
awesome.
She hopped on the thing and took off.
Just like a
Well, and then the last one was the bouncy ball,
Yes.
where you have to sit on it and bounce. Except it was like a quarter of the track.
that
It's a
was a
long ways.
sight.
It was.
Like they were
and
exhausted by the end.
I saw they all collapsed, and I don't know if that was a mean of punishment or if what we were doing with that one, Danny. But
I think we just needed a fourth leg for the race.
well, overall, it was a very good day. 2 days, Father,
Yep,
the
it
Great
was a
Crux.
good
But
time.
throughout the year, Frassati also won what?
We won every single spring break and winter break photo competition. I was very proud of that. And what else did we win?
Quiz Bowl.
Quiz Bowl. Yes.
So we took first place in Quiz Bowl.
Yep.
Throughout the year, just kept adding up those points.
Yep. Mr. Krause kept encouraging us. I think he wanted to win it super, super bad. It's like the Super Bowl for him. It's like the Super Bowl for me, too. I was trying to be chill about it, but I was running onto the field every time when we won.
It was a lot of excitement. It generated a lot of just great energy among all the students.
Yes.
Now, as we go into summer, Danny, you're going to Notre Dame.
Yes.
But before then, you were going to spend some time outdoors.
I was. I'm planning a couple of camping trips with my friends.
Where are you going?
First, tomorrow or the day after that, we're going to a little lake called Muskrat Lake. There's a little creek that leads to another lake, and there's an island on that lake. We're going to camp out on the island.
Are you allowed to camp out on the island, or are you going to be arrested?
I think we're able to go until May 16th.
Okay.
So I think
And then
we're
you're-
good.
So I
we're
also hear
legal.
you're a sailor. Is this true?
Oh, yes. Well, makeshift sailor.
Father, do you have any stories about sailing you and Danny could swap stories with?
Story about sail. I'll tell you the very first time I took my cabin cruiser out on a Great Lake. So this was the one that I no longer have because the keel fell off.
First and last
That's another
time.
story. But it was a 20-foot boat, and first time I'd ever taken it on a Great Lake. So I launched it in the boat ramp. That went fine. I put the motor on, turned it on. It fired right up. That went fine. I raised the mast, all that stuff. I was like, so far, so good. So I take off into Lake Michigan with the motor to like get over to the marina where I was going to stay. And I didn't realize you had to really have the motor mount clamps tightened down real tight. I had them on like tight enough, I thought. But I only get out there about 5 minutes, and all of a sudden the motor, while it's running and like pushing the boat along, slips off the motor mount. So I'm holding on to the tiller of the motor because that's where the throttle control is. Thank God I had my hand on it because I felt the motor like shift and then fall. And now it's in the water running, and I'm holding it with one hand and trying to not drop it to the bottom of Lake Huron. Thankfully, it stalled out pretty quickly, and I was able to pull it back up and reattach it. And now I keep those motor clamps on real tight because it turns out they can slide off.
Have you ever taken your boat on Muskrat Lake?
No, that's a
It
little
is
one.
not a sailing.
Sorry, go ahead, Father.
I was going to say I did take my boat on Lake Ovid, which is up in Sleepy Hollow State Park, which is probably not that much bigger than the lake you're going to. And
No.
It was one of those lakes where like clearly it's just paddle boards and little fishing boats. And then I come in with this huge 20-foot sailboat, and people are like, who is this guy? Why is he here? But it was
So, Danny boy, yours is a sunfish.
Yes.
Is that just a much smaller? I assume it's a sailboat then.
Yes. I actually listened to your podcast last week, and
Oh, come
I heard
on
it
now.
referred to as a kayak.
yes.
Something like that.
I think Father took quite offense at that. So
I totally
do you take
agree
offense
with
as
him.
well?
It is not a kayak. It is
It's a fully
sailboat.
legit sailboat. It's
Do you
got
have a paddle in it
centerboard.
though, in case there's no wind?
No, you can just rudder pump,
Oh,
tiller pump.
how long have you been sailing?
I think I did my first sailing camp when I was 6.
Did you really? Where'd you go for that?
Up in Alpena, Michigan.
Okay. And how did you hear about a sailing camp?
Well, my grandpa was a sailor back in his day. He did a couple of big sailboat races, like the Chicago to Mackinac and the Trans Superior. It's kind of just gotten passed down in the family.
What's your biggest sailing event you've ever done? Muskrat Lake?
Sailing camp regatta.
Sailing
probably,
camp regatta.
which I won, by the way.
Oh,
way
we
to
should get
go.
points for that for next year for Frassati.
I'll ask.
So, Daniel, you're going to Notre Dame. Congratulations.
Thank
You
you.
said you're going to be majoring in chemistry. I'm just curious, at what point did you realize you really liked chemistry?
Well, it was probably last year during AP Chem. I liked learning about it, and then I think what really got me hooked was Mrs. Owens let us design our own experiments. And
I went in for this one. I watched Danny do this, and the joy on his face. And tell him what you were doing, Danny.
well, I made this solution called Piranha solution, and it's super concentrated hydrochloric acid with some hydrogen peroxide. So, just household ingredients.
Don't drink it.
Don't drink it, but it'll dissolve anything with carbon. So you could drop a marshmallow or a piece of paper in there, and it would just be poof, gone. And then I think John Abood burned a hole in the sidewalk outside.
Yeah, I remember
cool.
this now that you're describing it, because I saw the remnants of this after the fact.
There was one thing you guys did where you took gummy bears and you were essentially lighting them on fire or melting them or something, but it created just some amazing, the northern lights of Mrs. Owens' class, basically.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
And what do you hope to do with the chemistry degree if you stay on that track?
I'm planning on going into medicine right now. I don't know what kind of doctor yet, but I know I want to be a doctor.
Do you have favorite doctors that you look up to?
Well, my parents are doctors, so I look up to them.
That's a good answer. What kind of doctors are they?
My dad does internal medicine, so just in the hospital, and then my mom's an endocrinologist.
Okay.
Do you have any favorite memories from your time at Lansing Catholic?
I love those AP Chem experiments like I talked about. Winning the Great Crux was pretty awesome. I remember, I forgot what year it was, but Jonah Richards kicked a field goal to win it against Portland. That was sweet.
I remember that was a night game. I remember that one, watching that on TV. What advice do you have for next year's freshmen or next year's seniors?
Well, freshmen, I'd say just keep working hard. Be good kids.
Make good choices.
Make good choices.
Do good, avoid evil.
Yes. And have some fun, because you only go to high school once.
But not too much fun, Danny, right?
Well, too much good fun is good. Have a lot of good fun.
That's a good quote right there, Father. Let's pull that one off.
Good fun.
Good fun.
Well, Danny, it's been great having you here at school. It's been nice getting to know you over the years.
It's been great having you in my Rajinka. I'm gonna miss you.
I've been thinking I was going to talk about this at the baccalaureate mass homily, but I've been here long enough now that your class, I feel like I've actually seen you grow up a little bit, because it's been 3 years now, and it's always bittersweet when we get to the end of the year, but it's getting more bitter. Like the hard part is getting harder for me, because it's like kind of sad to see these students leave that you get to know, but we're excited for you and wish you all the best. Well, let's go to our mailbag. We've got a couple of questions. Our first question was supplied by Mr. Entler here. He wants to know. Well, tell us. What do you want to know? What was your question?
I want to know what's going on at baccalaureate.
Like baccalaureate mass?
Yes.
Well, do you think this is some sort of a hidden
this is
ritual that we do, or what?
We were just talking about this at our leadership team meeting. A lot of the underclassmen don't know because they've never been. So what happens at baccalaureate mass?
Are we allowed to talk about it then? Maybe we just keep it a secret. So baccalaureate mass, we all go to the cathedral. Father presides. Are you presiding?
Well, first we line up on the steps, and there's a big class photo.
Well, you don't.
No, but the students will do that.
Oh, yeah.
So the students line up on the steps, and then you get in line to start mass, because you do the little procession at the beginning, and then eventually I get in the procession, and then we start mass.
All the graduates are in their
They're
gowns,
wearing their gowns, no caps.
Not caps and not their regalia.
Yes. And then it's just like a normal mass, but it's nice, and it's in the cathedral. And some of the priests from all the partner parishes will be there.
There are awards that are given out, academic awards.
They're
the President's Award, the Service Award to all the students. Last year there was a very delightful British person who's in our Air Force, and he gave a very fun speech.
Yes.
Can you recreate part of it?
I can't, because every time I try to do a British accent, I usually get called horrible names. So
Can you try?
No.
Okay.
It's a good try, though, Danny. I appreciate it.
Yep.
So it's a good event. It's a good send-off for these students. And also, you come out. I like coming out at night, because then you're right by the Capitol, and the Capitol's all lit up. And you're out there in your gown, which hopefully you're never walking around downtown Lansing in a gown again. Graduation gown.
All right. So that's what happens at baccalaureate mass. Next question is for you, Mr. Stolpa. The question is... This is totally a legit question submitted on the form.
Is this Danny as well?
Maybe. It says, what does Mr. Stolpa do during the summer?
Oh, gosh. What do I do during the year? It's a little So all the children are home during the summer, and so I'm with them. Sometimes I'm at school, sometimes I'm at home. We're trying to figure out if we want to do any trips this summer. We haven't really decided on any yet, but there's options of going down to the beach in South Carolina. We thought we might go. My niece is playing in the U14 Goalie Wars Championship for soccer in Orlando in July, so we might go check that out. But she's a lot better at soccer than I am at anything in my life.
So maybe some beach time. That sounds good.
Beach time, yes. Other than that, yeah, you might catch me around.
What's your golf game like in the summer?
Before I had children, it was wonderful. After I had children, my sole goal is to get them to play golf so I can go play golf. And then I could tell my wife that I have to go take my kids to play golf. I'm like, and she says, no. I said, sorry, honey, it's for the kids. And then you get Father's Day, and I have one wish on Father's Day, and that's to play golf on Mother's Day.
So selfless.
I have heard that having kids does become a bit of an obstacle to having plenty of golf time.
No, yes, and really any other time that you want, but they're delightful sometimes.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I don't have kids, and I also don't.
That
really
actually
get any
does
golf
make me
time.
feel better, Father. Otherwise, we might have to have a different chat.
But there are other priests who get to golf all the time, so I think it's more of just a lifestyle choice.
Well, you go sailing, to be fair.
It's true. That's my summertime hobby.
Everyone has a hobby to pick.
Yep. All right, everybody, we're going to call that a wrap. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time. I'm Father Joe.
And I'm Mr. Stolpa.
And I'm Danny.
Make good choices.